Welcome to Design Stand-Up, Episode 11, Navigating Design Politics, and Web Designers, Stop Doing These 5 Unproductive Things, by Eric Karkovac of Specky Boy. And I'm your host, Ryan Stone, reading to you every Tuesday and Thursday from the best blogs in the design industry, with their permission, of course. It's kind of like a free ongoing audiobook, always being updated with new content from your favorite designers. Whether you are a seasoned design professional or simply a design enthusiast, I am on a mission to help grow your knowledge in all things digital design. Today's post comes from a new author, Eric Karkovac of Specky Boy. Eric is a web designer with over 2 decades of experience in the freelance industry, and today you'll be hearing some of his experience with navigating design politics and 5 tips to reduce unproductivity. So without further ado, let's stand up. Navigating Design Politics by Eric Karkovac of Specky Boy. Freelance web designers often work with a variety of clients. Over time, it provides for many interesting experiences. You get a behind-the-scenes look at how decisions are made, something that can vary greatly from place to place. For instance, you may find that one organization has a clear power structure. Others may be a complete mess in that area. It is often that those who lack structure that are the greatest source of trouble. While these situations may not always be fun, they are almost always a learning opportunity. Seeing where your clients excel and where they struggle will give you insight. Good thing, because the web design process is often an example of office politics at their worst. Everybody wants to have their say and get their ideas implemented. It will test your patience, and if you're not careful, your project can go up in flames. Web designer in the middle. As an organizational outsider, web designers are often the ones left in the middle of a power struggle. And all too often, we are expected to act as mediators. This is especially so when a client's normal leader allows for too many cooks in the kitchen. That leads to being inundated by multiple people who aren't on the same page. The challenge is that, as the hired help, we can't necessarily ignore everyone but the boss. Therefore, we get pulled in multiple directions and are left to sift through competing suggestions. Sometimes the ideas can clash and contradict each other. For a designer, it can feel both frustrating and a bit pointless. You're there to build a great website, not play staff psychiatrist. So, how are you supposed to effectively deal with such a free-for-all? Take a leadership role. At some point, it may become obvious that a client doesn't have all their stuff together. You can often tell very early on in the process. In meetings, people tend to eschew a productive debate. Instead, they'll take the conversation into several different directions without any clear answers. In these cases, you might be the only one who can put out the fire. Therefore, you'll need to speak up and assert yourself as someone who knows what they're doing. This is not the easiest to do, especially if it's not your personality. But you don't have to be mean or forceful, just honest. Here's how it works. Explain the process. Team members often crave strong leadership and struggle when it's missing. You can be the person who they will rally around. It starts with a mention of how, in order to succeed, the project needs a clear plan of attack. Explain your process for getting things done and what you need from everyone in order to carry it out. At the very least, this provides everyone in the room with a bit of reset. Understanding what makes for a successful outcome will, hopefully, create a higher level of cooperation. Ideas are welcome. Too many ideas can indeed drive you crazy, but a client has a right to express their thoughts, so the goal is to better organize them. This can be accomplished by either writing it all down or, better yet, using a shared document. Here, everyone can add their own voice, but in a less chaotic way. Just make sure to create a basic template and try to have everyone follow the same format. From there, you can go over the pros and cons of each suggestion. It may take a little while to get through, but the hope is that people will start to see a clearer path forward. As a result, that list should become much smaller. See it through. If you're seeing a more productive environment for getting things done, great, but don't rest on your laurels. There could still be roadblocks on the way to getting the website launched. Look for opportunities to reestablish your message. Again, this doesn't require you to turn into some sort of dictator. It's more about sending gentle reminders for items that still need to be taken care of, or processes that could use a boost. And it's also not a bad idea to celebrate milestones as you pass them. These little forms of motivation can add up and keep the momentum moving in the right direction. Learn to adapt. No 2 clients will work in exactly the same way. That can be hard to deal with, since we can be creatures of habit, especially this designer. But it's unlikely that your client is going to completely change the way they do things just for you. Thus, it's up to us to adapt them. Sometimes, the design and build processes will go smoothly. Other situations may call for a firmer grip on the reins. The key is in diagnosing the dynamics in the room, physical or virtual, and adjusting your strategy to match. They say that it takes all kinds to make the world. Web designers get to experience this firsthand. Ultimately, it enables us to navigate even the most difficult projects. Web designers, stop doing these 5 unproductive things, by Eric Karkovac of Specky Boy. Being a web designer can sometimes feel like an exercise in extremes. Either you are incredibly busy or left waiting for something, anything, to come your way, and your financial situation can be just as chaotic. Then there's the pressure that comes with pleasing clients. Plus, you're expected to keep up with the latest trends and learn the latest techniques. Are you tired yet? What's hard to see is that a lot of what we can do can be counterproductive. Even with good intentions, we may be shooting ourselves in the foot, so to speak, without knowing it. With that in mind, here are 5 things web designers should stop doing as they undermine both our careers and our overall happiness. Number 1. Stop trying to learn everything. Continuing our education is one of the keys to long-term success, but sometimes we place pressure on ourselves to learn every single new buzzworthy skill. It's easy to read about the latest and greatest in web design and feel like you're falling behind. But the reality is that much of what we read about today won't catch on tomorrow. In theory, you could spend a lot of your precious time cramming in knowledge only to find out that you went down the wrong path. Instead, look to be more selective when it comes to the skills you learn. Think about how it's applicable to what you do. Will it enable you to work more efficiently? Will it help you make more money? Most of us don't have an unlimited amount of time to dedicate to learning. What time we do have should be spent on skills that are of real benefit to us. That's why it's important to look beyond the hype and narrow our focus. Number 2, stop comparing yourself to other designers. When I was a bit younger, a lot younger, I would constantly review the portfolios of other designers. I'd see their work and wish I had the same list of accomplishments. It always seemed to sour my mood. While it's perfectly fine to look at what other designers are doing, it's not worth trying to measure up to them. In other words, don't use their work and success to put yourself down. Every designer has their own style, skill set, and takes their own path. Be inspired by what others do, but don't think that you have to be just like them. In the end, it's about being the best version of yourself. Number 3, stop selling yourself short. When you no longer try to match what other designers are doing, you'll develop a better sense of who you are. In turn, you can focus your attention on making sure that you are paid what you are worth. Too often, talented designers settle for low-paying, small projects. Part of this may stem from a lack of confidence. Sometimes we simply fear the risk that comes along with taking on something bigger. But your business should continue to evolve over time. As you become better at your job, you can change more for your services. You also get to be a bit pickier regarding who you work with. This is one of the great benefits of being an experienced web designer. Deep down, you know that you're capable of doing more. Forget settling and start doing the kinds of projects that reflect your growth. Number 4, stop trying to do it all. We all have our own strengths, weaknesses, and preferences, yet we are often saddled with doing tasks we hate, are no good at, or both. This is especially true of freelancers who are responsible for virtually every part of their business. Attempting to be the jack of all trades can potentially lead to burnout. Even worse, it takes you away from the parts of your job that you truly love. There are plenty of opportunities to rid yourself of at least some of these dreaded tasks. You can hire on another designer to do some of the grunt work you don't have time for, and you can work with an accountant to handle finances. Or you can tweak the focus of your business to avoid specific items altogether. The point is that you don't have to be everything to everyone. Concentrate on what you do best and find help wherever you can. And number 5, stop placating that one difficult client. Have you ever dealt with a client who makes up a small portion of your revenue but takes up a disproportionate amount of time? You know, the one who makes a habit of calling for every little thing. They're the person who always seems to have a problem, each one sounding more desperate than the last. In these cases, there's an old saying that is very appropriate. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. Indeed, we tend to go out of our way to please people like this, often to no avail. Talk about being counterproductive. Unfortunately, we can't really run and hide from our clients. Doing so is highly unprofessional. But we can decide to not respond immediately, and we can set some healthy boundaries up. If that doesn't work, we can start charging for each little phone call. The last step in a bad relationship is to just break ties, if possible. Trying to make headway with such clients means that we take our eyes off of those who are helping us to pay the bills. While it's fine to help where we can, there is a limit. Feeling free and productive. When you start to count up all the little things we do that either distract us or are unhelpful, you may be surprised at just how big of a list you come up with. The good news is that we have the ability to change most, if not all of them. Each of the items above are things that can happen to any of us. But by learning to recognize them, we can eliminate those behaviors from our daily lives. The result is that you'll feel less stressed and, yes, more productive. You just listened to the post titled Navigating Design Politics and Web Designers Stop Doing These 5 Unproductive Things by Eric Karkovac of Specky Boy. If you want to learn more about Eric and read some of his other amazing design articles, just press the link in the show notes or head over to Specky Boy at speckyboy.com. As always, you can access this full episode along with others at designstandup.com. Oh, and before you go, don't forget to check out the brand new Design Stand-Up group on LinkedIn, where you can connect and learn from designers across the globe, chat about the latest episodes, and much more. You can find a link in the show notes or just search Design Stand-Up on LinkedIn's website or app. Well, that's all I have for you today, guys. It's been a pleasure. Until next time, fill up those coffees, turn up those tunes, and let's design a better world.